Hey there, guys. Welcome back to the channel. So, I recently went out to go see the new film called The Accountant 2, and it's directed by Gavin O'Connor, which he has returned to direct for the sequel that directed the first movie that came out 9 years ago. And you got Ben Affleck, John Bernthal reprising the role. And yeah, this is 8 years after the events of the first one, and you got these two brothers who are completely on opposite sides, but they're lethal assassins, and their job is to go and track down this mysterious assassin that killed J.K. Simmons' character, and they're gonna have to team up with J.K. Simmons' protege. So this is a movie that I was really looking forward to that I never thought in the million years that they would get this movie made for the sequel because the first movie, The Accountant, didn't do so well at the box office, and I thought that hey, it's a nail in the coffin and it didn't make money, and and it's been for 9 years that they took them to get this movie off the ground, and Amazon and MGM was able to pick that up. I don't know if they originally want this movie to go to streaming at first, but if they did, thank God they didn't. They premiered it early to show them that they can definitely put this out in the theaters, and they made the right decision by putting this out in the theatrical release in the cinema. And after coming out of the theater for this movie, I will say this movie absolutely delivered, and here's why. The things that really worked is that it's a straightforward premise. It had better pacing, and it didn't have multiple storylines that are happening all at once. And sometimes they do work if it's intertwined and it unfolds. The Accountant One was definitely one of the most underrated action thrillers. It had the potential to be made into a franchise. Ben Affleck was amazing in the film. The fight choreography, the gunfight was absolutely banger. John Bernthal steals the spotlight, and it was only good that we only got a small amount of screen time with them together in the third act. But in this one, they took whatever it worked from the first one and brought it into this movie and dial up to 11. It's not all over the place with the storylines, and it was straightforward and very simple. And John Bernthal and Ben Affleck's dynamic was golden. You have these two brothers who are completely on opposite sides, who had a father who had trained them to be lethal killers, and Ben Affleck's character Christian Wolf, who is on the spectrum on autism, who is able to learn great mathematics, numbers, and also puzzle pieces, but he's also a great lethal and ruthless fighter. And he's freelance to be an accountant, but he also does money laundering across the world and gets into these crazy missions. And you have the woman who has a disability who knew her back in the day. She's the one who's helping him out on these missions through a phone call, but she's unable to speak. And I thought that in what did work in the first movie, I thought it really worked this time around. And John Bernthal and Ben Affleck's chemistry was absolutely golden. I mean, John Bernthal's character, who's a freelance who goes around, kills money for a living, he's a contract killer, and he has a sweet tooth. And he's also crazy in the head at times. But when they are reunited, I thought that the brother bonding was absolutely great. I mean, you see how these two people who are completely lonely and want to have a great human connection, but it doesn't always work out. And you always wonder, like, that with Ben Affleck's character, you're wondering, like, did he really care about his brother after being absent for so many years? And he has a hard time trying to show his affection for his brother, and even in his and John Berthel's character is been driven so crazy insane that he wants to reunite with his brother and spend time with them, even when they were so dysfunctional and had a completely shady past. But their two together was definitely golden. I had bought the chemistry between the two of them. I love John Berthel the more and more I watch him. I mean, I love him as the Punisher, but the more I watch him on screen, he really delivers. They delivered the humor in this movie without going too over the top and too ridiculous. Then it gets a little bit heavy-handed at times when it needs to be. The action and the gunfights in the third act delivered. I loved it, and it gave them a set of purpose to be more selfless and do things that actually matter instead of just going on some missions and kill people for money just because. And I thought that this one worked. It added a lot more character growth. A couple of my favorite moments in the movie is when Ben Affleck's character is trying to go on a speed dating because he really wants to have a human connection and actually have a relationship. But every time he tries to go on speed dating, he gives us numbers and completely miscommunicates and annoys the hell out of them, and it doesn't work out well. And this is not a major spoiler. It's in the second trailer, and I thought that scene made me laugh. I loved it. And the second best part of the movie is when Ben Affleck and John Bernthal are at a bar and they get into a bar fight. And I thought their screen time was gold. It is a buddy movie and an action thriller. It does go a little bit of the typical trope of the whole buddy movie, but it worked so well and I miss it. I because we don't get a lot of movies like this with the whole buddy duo thing that quite often. The last movie that we got last year was Deadpool and Wolverine. And A couple of my negatives of this movie that I will admit that the story itself was a little convoluted and they weren't as strong and it was very unclear and why should we care about this person, this whole mystery assassin. They do tackle on the whole human trafficking and slavery of the immigration, and it does work, but the main plot of the main antagonist was kind of very convoluted and not as well compelling, and it doesn't get brought up of why J.K. Simmons wants to find the family. You know what I mean? Once you see the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But how they did it just felt like it was in the background a lot, and I never really thought of it at the time. But and another negative that I will say that I wish they added a little bit more action in the movie. I feel like that there should have been more when these two are together, and I just felt like there should have been more. But wasn't enough to pull me out of it. Don't get me wrong. I still thought the action delivered with the gunfight, the fight choreography, the camera work was far better than what they did in the first movie. And I really enjoyed Cynthia Oddie Robinson, who's playing J.K. Simmons' protege that you meet in the last movie, but now she has a bigger part of the film and she teams up with Ben Affleck and John Bernthal on the case, and they have to work together. But and you see her character feeling very uncomfortable whenever these two had to do illegal things in order to get the job done, even if it means torturing people or killing others or hacking into the mainframe and spying on so many people. And you could see that she is very uncomfortable of how they had to get things done because she's all about doing everything by the book. And I thought that the dynamic with the three of them was definitely good. I wish they would have got us a little bit more because I felt like that it got cut a little bit too short. And another thing in the movie that goes a little bit ridiculous and a little bit far-fetched, but at the same time, I kind of just go along with it, especially when we explore the institution, who kids with disabilities and is very intelligent, has a unique set of skills. They go a little bit far beyond the ridiculousness, and especially the woman who was the childhood of Ben Affleck's friend character that they meet in the first movie, and she's the one who's helping him out on the mission. She's the one who's on the phone. She's unable to speak. She can't speak, but she's very intelligent, has a very good skills, and she only speaks through the AI generated British voice, but she's basically the Oracle, kind of like the Batman style. And I thought her leading the whole team, even though it goes a little bit far-fetched, but you know what? I don't care. Sometimes we have to turn on our suspenders and not overthink about it too much. It does go a little bit too far-fetched and very not very believable, but it didn't matter to me. I mean, even though that the story itself in this movie is not very strong and very convoluted, but the one thing that really carried the movie was John Bernthal and Ben Affleck. The brotherly love, dysfunctional relationship between the two of them continues to be gold, and they're the one that carries the film. It reminds me of Supernatural when Sam and Dean, even when we get into the later seasons, that the storyline is very weak and it kind of recycles the same plot. But the thing that really carried it was Sam and Dean in the Supernatural series, and that's what it reminded me in this movie for The Accountant too. Overall, this is definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. Now, look, I'm not going to say it's perfect, but I thought that the strength of the movie was John Bernthal and Ben Affleck, the two brothers who are so dysfunctional, trying to reconnect with each other and try to give the closure that we need. And it does end on a conclusion, and it doesn't try to set up for the next sequel. I'm glad that this movie had a definitive end and it doesn't try to leave on any cliffhanger, but it leaves the door open to expand upon this universe and do a little bit more. And it makes you want to go back to the two characters again. If they do another one, I would be happy for it. But as of now that this movie has made 40 million and it was on an $80 million budget. So I hope that on the second weekend, I hope they continue to make a little bit more and hopefully more people go out to see it in the cinema. Because I think if you want to see a great action thriller and if you like the first movie, I think you're gonna have a great time watching it because it doesn't really bore you. It's paced very well. It's straight to the point, and it really just delivers on a high note for me. So I'm gonna give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. It is definitely banger. It's far better than the first one. I highly recommend checking out The Accountant in the theaters. It's only been out for a week, and I've only had a chance to see it in Dolby Cinema on the last day because they're going to be showing Thunderbolts, and it's going to be screening on both IMAX and Dolby Cinema. So this was my only chance to screen the movie. But yeah, if you have seen The Accountant 2, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. What did you think of the movie? And if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications so you know when my videos are up. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, great evening, wherever you're from. And if you want to follow my social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and all, the link tree will be down in the description down below. Anyway, thank you for watching and stay tuned for more of my content.